What up, Whiskey Ginger fans? Welcome back to the show. If it's your first time joining the show, welcome to the show. We got a good one for you today. Like my man Steve Harvey done say, it's Justin Willman, the magic man with the magic hands and the magic brain. What a great, cool, intriguing dude. I really love this guy. So talented. Go to justinwillman.com and go check him out. He is on tour. He's all over the place, bringing his comedic style of trickery to you, wherever you are. He's going to be there in 2024. Go to justinwillman.com and check him out. Also, me and Bob released a bunch of new dates. Me and Bobby Lee are doing Bad Friends Tour where we do stand-up and stuff from the show. You get a couple hours of stand-up and live podcast events. And we're not going to be sitting down doing the podcast. We do live podcast-like events, fan interactions, all sorts of fun stuff. Go to badfriendspod.com for those tickets, badfriendspod.com. We're going to be everywhere. We start in Atlantic City, then we go to Salt Lake City, then we go to Long Beach and Sacramento and Temecula and Reno, Tucson, and then we end this whole thing in Las Vegas, Nevada on 4/20 before we go down on the night. So go to badfriendspod.com for those tickets, badfriendspod.com. Enough rambling from me. Let's go to the episode.
In here, we pour whisk, 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 whisk.
You were that creature in the ginger beard.
Sturdy and ginger.
Like vampires, the ginger gene is a curse.
Gingers are beautiful.
You owe me $5 for the whiskey and $75 for the horse.
Gingers? Oh, hell no.
This whiskey is excellent.
Ginger. I like gingers.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Whiskey Ginger. My guest today is one of my favorite people on earth. I say that for all my guests, but I mean it once again today. It's Justin Willman!
Yeah.
Dude, cheers to you. Thank you for coming by.
Cheers. Thank you.
Yeah,
This is long overdue.
I know. Seriously, we've been trying.
Oh, yeah.
Good sauce.
Do listeners get to know what time of day this is happening?
Yeah, this is at 8:30 in the morning.
Yeah,
We're
Monday.
starting the show. Monday, 8:30 a.m.
That's right.
I've had guys on here that, most of my friends are sober now, and some of them needed to be.
Is it because of this podcast
Yeah, probably
that
because
they
of the
get
show.
sober?
Yeah, this has taken down a lot of people.
Uh-huh.
But I've had guys come in here that do drink that are like, you want to crack one? I'm like, it's 7:30. Not really. At 7:30, but then I have to.
This podcast is like an airport bar.
This is.
Any time of day, it is okay to have a Bloody Mary.
Do you feel that way,
Admiral's
truly?
Club, 6:01 a.m., LAX.
Oh, you're
you
a
can
big
order
American
a drink.
guy. That's what it is, huh?
Yeah.
I was a Delta cat, but the Delta Lounge is, honestly, it's out of control. I was at JFK 2 days ago, and there was no less than 10,000 people inside the Delta Lounge.
Yeah, you need to know a guy to get in there.
Yeah,
There's a line out the door,
I'm the guy.
but Delta Lounge's spread is by far
The best.
superior to American
It
Airlines.
is, but they're changing everything. This is inside nonsense.
Actually, this is useful.
This is privileged
I would
guy
say
nonsense.
this is what people will learn
Well,
once
here's
they
the
hit a
problem.
million miles.
You used to be able to get in with American Express Platinum card. Some people that weren't flying in first class or weren't a part of the lounge, you could get in. Now they said you got to spend $70,000 a year on an Amex to do it, and a lot of people got super mad about it. And then I said, well, then why don't they just divide up these lounges? Why wouldn't you just make like one for people that are card holders, one for people that are they're frequent flyers? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Segment, dude. Class system it
You
up.
mean within the lounge, basically, like
Just make
Flagship and Admiral's Club?
Yeah, multiple lounges.
You ever go on that Flagship?
Flagship
Club?
is really sexy.
Oh
yeah,
my God.
that's.
There's
I mean,
nobody there.
That's right. Admiral's Lounge
But
is.
you and Wolfgang Puck.
It is. It's him. It's always like a famous chef, and then a celebrity that's been famous for 40 years.
Yes.
Where you're like, is that Arsenio Hall? Is that Arsenio Hall?
Where's he going?
And it is. Where is he going, dude? You're on tour a lot, by the way. I see your schedule, and it is funny. You're one of these guys that I don't know if you stop, but if you do, you'd have to tell me because I feel like you live on the road. Don't you travel a ton?
I always say like I'm on a perpetual tour, and then it never really starts or stops.
Yeah.
But when I'm on tour, it's never like, it's like 2-3 days, and then back home to Studio City for a couple days, and then a Thursday,
then
Friday,
gone.
Saturday, and then back home.
Yeah.
So it's kind of manageable.
Are you a
like a
single man?
commute.
Are you a single man?
No, I'm not.
No. So
No.
that makes it a little bit more
I have
difficult.
a wife and 2 children.
Do you love both of them the same?
Both of my wives, both of my children.
Well, you could have both.
wives and
You
children.
have 2 wives and 2 children.
No, that would be who's no time for that. I love my wife and I love my children the same. But it was easier to do maybe a week or a week and a half away from my wife. No offense to her.
No,
than
yeah.
your children. My wife is not going to acquire new quirks and personality traits while I'm gone. Hopefully, but
Maybe
the
she
child,
is.
they
They
grow
change.
up so fast.
Yeah. But it's so funny to say that because I feel like every time I come home, my wife has a lot of new guys working on the house. A lot of them. More
Task rabbits? What?
Yeah, I think we've got, how many? He knows we've got like 6 pool guys now. And we don't even have a pool. I mean, we're thinking about building one, but
I don't know. Something might be going on.
I
don't know.
doubt it, dude.
Maybe she's planning a surprise 41st birthday. Maybe that's what all
Maybe
the
she's
secrets.
surprising. That could be what it is.
What do these guys look like?
Really good looking, young, handsome, like 22 to 28. Good looking guys, fresh out of college.
Interested? Can they throw a hammer?
Can they ever?
Wow.
They can put it down. And they're building a lot of stuff back there. I don't know. She won't let me see what it is. So maybe you're right. It is a surprise.
I mean,
They're always in the
under a
backyard.
tarp or
They always have
something?
their shirts off in the backyard and they're doing push-ups and sit-ups.
it's hot out.
It is very hot, and I do think you need to stay limber when you're doing manual labor. And they're very good looking, all tan. None of them are like me. Actually, none of them look like me at all. They're all really good looking tan young
I think you're
guys.
describing the Chippendales.
Are they doing a live
They
show
might
in
be
my
a
backyard?
They might be. Surprise.
Surprise! Well, that's a birthday present. You got me a Chippendale.
You share an iCal with your wife where she's aware of your travel plans, your goings, your comings, and
This
goings.
is funny because we bought, here's how it initially started. Calendar sharing was like the original way, but I don't put everything in my calendar. So she got frustrated at that. So
Where do
then
you put it?
a lot of times I just put it in the memory bank that I'm like, I know where I'm going then, and I just kind of, I have so many plates I feel like I'm spinning that sometimes I just log it in and then I forget to communicate it. Like, oh, I forgot that day I'm XYZ. So now she bought one of these big boards and I have to write in the calendar what I'm doing and where I'm going.
By
Truly.
hand, on paper?
I do it by hand because then I'll physically do it because I'll just ignore it if it's,
At home on the wall?
it's right. It's in the laundry room. And
What if she wants to know where you are, but she's not at home?
good luck.
She has to go home and look at the
Good-
wall.
Yeah, she has to go home. Or she calls someone inside of the house and says,
One of the many construction workers could
Yeah, one
maybe
of the 6 Chippendales.
FaceTime her the schedule.
Yeah, and none of them speak English, so that's even harder. I guess that's even more difficult for her to communicate. But she seems to do just fine with those guys.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, but I put up a board, and I started doing it pretty good, and then I have since stopped. I just don't do it anymore. Now, this is pathetic and awful, but I just say you got to just look at the site, look at the
Oh,
website,
check my tour schedule, babe.
check the
yeah.
check the sketch, dude. But
Yeah.
she comes a lot now. Well, she hasn't come in years, but she comes on the road with me now. Just to if it's A markets. If it's A markets.
If she can get there in a nonstop flight. she
100%.
said.
Yeah.
Okay.
By the way, I'm not going there. If
So
I can't
no
get there in a
Louisville.
nonstop. Louisville, she's not going to swing by.
No.
Not gonna make her trip to Lincoln, Nebraska, probably.
Oh, no. My wife will never see Omaha.
No.
Oklahoma
and by the
City?
way, beautiful places. She'll just never
You
know.
have to say that.
I
'cause
do.
I've checked your tour schedule.
Yeah, you do.
You're
I do.
going there.
No, dude. She'll only go to cities where we either have friends or she has something to do.
People
Because-
always say, do you bring your kids? Do you bring your wife? Like, maybe I'm in Joliet, Illinois, where I was recently.
There you go.
And I was like, lady, I got up at 6 a.m. to get here, and I'm getting up at 6 a.m. tomorrow to get the hell out of here. You think my wife wants any part of this?
Right, no.
In Joliet?
Unless they want to go to that great steakhouse in Joliet.
Which one's that?
Mikey's Steak and Mikey's Chop House.
Well, now
Is
you
that
tell
still
me.
there?
You know what?
I made it up. I made that up. I was just hoping you'd run with it.
Look, you familiar with Louis? It's basically a ripoff of Denny's.
No, is that a real
Louis?
thing?
Yeah, it's a long
it's
story.
a long
Yeah,
story.
but no, my wife. Yeah, wives don't want to come unless there's
Something to do.
non-performing happening.
Right,
I'd
unless
say.
we can go to a show or go out to a place or if we know someone in that city. You're like, where are you born?
St. Louis.
Oh, wow.
I know.
I forgot. That's right.
Yeah.
You're a Missouri boy.
Apologies,
But you don't look
after.
like a Missouri kid.
What does that look like?
You know what it looks like. Bring up a picture of a child in Missouri. You'll know right away. When you see these guys, you'll know right away what a Missouri child
Google
looks like.
automatically suggested Missouri child support, by the way.
Well, look
as
at the third
height.
kid. I mean, that's kind of what most kids look like in Missouri.
Missouri child, what's the caption? Dies
13 dies from
Oh my
coronavirus at
gosh.
Missouri hospital. So this is the kind of stuff that you guys are pumping out.
This is my roots. Wow. Very sad. Can't say anything about that at all because there's a face to it. But
You've done. Before I move on too much into the world of.
we've started.
Well, we always start without you knowing.
Good.
You know, that's kind of how
Boy,
life
you're
is.
really surprised. the
Starts without
magician.
you knowing, baby.
Uh-huh.
I pull a magic trick on you.
And it's over before I know it.
It's done. Thank you so much for watching the show. That's been Justin. I'll say multiple things right now. I really appreciate you. I respect you. I think you're very talented, and I've seen you kind of from afar and watched what you've been doing. And I think it's weird to say that you're a magician because you are, but you're a comedian to me. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's funny because you are a magician, but you're a comedian.
Wow.
But you're, it's hard because if somebody said, because I think my buddy was like, is he a comedian? I say he's a magician, but he's a comedian. But is that insulting to say?
No, that's like my, that is, you have just completed the search of my lifelong dream of identity of wanting to be a comedian.
But you are a comedian. You don't fancy yourself a comedian?
I do.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't do comedy without magic being involved.
Okay.
But
And I don't do comedy without saying the F word. I mean, it's like, that's my,
there you go.
that's my
That's
magic
your
trick.
rabbit from the hat.
Right,
Uh-huh.
right.
But thank you. That's my that makes me very proud because I certainly wasn't. I was a magician for a long time before I was like funny. You know, for the right reasons. You know.
Right.
But magic is, I think, what put me in front of people to get that like that feeling of like, wow, getting a laugh feels really good.
But you guys go through the same stuff. Like when you've helped me out, there's a place here in Los Angeles that people may not know called the Magic Castle. It's actually world renowned. If you're not familiar, I understand, but it's probably one of the most, it's hard to describe, one of the most fascinating places to go to as a comedian. Even as just a spectator is great, but as a comic, it's impressive because I watch, 7 different comics a night, magicians a night, and some of them have such comedic instinct and they lay it in there pretty well. Some people aren't that funny. Some guys are straight magic.
Mm-hmm.
But as a comic, it's cool to watch who's developing their comedy with the magic simultaneously and who's just kind of a straight magician.
Yes.
I mean, some of the up-close guys, I always felt like the up-close guys are less showy and jokey and more just performative of like, watch how good I am at showing you this.
Right.
And then some of the bigger shows that you, in the big room, like in the parlor or whatever, some of those shows, it's great to watch people like go through what we go through. And you know both sides of it. But it's so interesting to see them work out jokes that bomb. And I fucking love it. Like it fills me up because I'm like, that's us. That's our pain. Because if a trick doesn't work, there's a way for a magician to kind of massage their way through it, right? If it doesn't go as smoothly as they wanted to.
You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I see as an outsider, right? inside, you're too
Well, if
inside
a trick,
baseball.
like if a joke doesn't work, that's a part of a trick. Or if you're doing a bit and you do a long lead up and you fuck up the punchline, and then so basically 2 minutes was just kind of
Lead up.
tanked, and it's not like you're gonna tell the joke again from the beginning. It's kind of like, all right, fuck that. You can move on and salvage it. It's a little awkward, but I
Right.
think if a trick, like if the audience clearly sees how you just did what you are about to do, or how now you can't now do what you were promising to do. Like if I vanished your bill and then all of a sudden, like out of my sleeve falls a bill and I don't notice it, everyone's kind of like, oh my God. It's like your dick came out in the middle of your set.
Which is part of your show.
That's why
closer.
it's called misdirection. You don't look there, look here.
You call your dick misdirection.
Misdirection.
Oh,
Mhm.
interesting.
Mister.
Oh, misdirection.
Misdirection.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Mine
That's
is
right.
misdirection.
Misdirection.
I have a female penis. Yes.
I see.
It's a new world, dog.
But I found that there's, when you're at the castle, I think the Magic Castle is kind of like the Comedy Store if the Comedy Store was like a fancy place
Yeah,
that
true.
had a nice restaurant and you had to wear a suit to get in.
And a
but
tie.
the idea of and a tie.
Yeah.
But the idea of the Comedy Store, it's like varying sized rooms and it's just shows all night, right? And you can go there and spend the whole night and get hammered and, see maybe some of the best comedians in the country. But at the Magic Castle, if you can tell that somebody may be, like when you're in good hands, there's no better thing than to relax and know this guy's a pro, he's gonna fucking blow our minds. But when someone is maybe trying out a new bit and you're like, oh God, I hope. Oh my God,
I
I
love
hope he
that.
figures this out. You like it?
I
For
like
me,
the
it's
anxiety of them maybe failing. Like the last time we went, when I texted you, when we went to the Magic Castle with my wife and my sister and some friends, this couple in the main room was doing, and I'm not putting them down. They were doing buckets, like buckets. I don't know if maybe you know these people, but it was a husband and wife, and they were doing like bucket tricks.
What were they doing to these buckets?
Well, they would stack and change them, and it was very physical, and it was less magic involved and more showy. But there was also magic moments of them utilizing the buckets to whatever.
Wow.
But they dropped a lot of buckets. She dropped many of the buckets.
And the gist of the bit is, wow, how are they not dropping the buckets?
Yeah,
And
and,
then
they're
she's
dropping the
dropping the- I
buckets.
see, okay.
But the difference is you
when you do drop a bucket, he made a joke every time. And that's why I was like,
Oh,
this is
great.
great.
Yeah, great.
And he was doing it the right way. And I could feel her anxiety was growing heavier because she didn't know how to like laugh it off, throw it away, which I think is the same thing we utilize as comics. When a joke doesn't work, you have to acknowledge it in a way and wrap it around into something else. Because if it just dies on its own, the weight is tremendous. You need to like spin it a little bit off so people forget how that just was.
So this guy, like I was at the Magic Castle last night for the first time in a while, and brilliant juggler David Diebel, a couple drops that I could tell weren't like, he probably would have preferred to do that catch. But each time it was a new zinger, right?
Yeah.
So you almost look forward to like, wow, if he catches it, amazing. If he drops it, can't wait to hear what he's going to say next. But if someone is not that skilled and they essentially do the Magic equivalent of dropping it, and then you're kind of like, you're Schadenfreude, right? It's like, oh, what's he going to do? He's going to squirm. And then if he catches that ball and he, like, you would feel so proud of this guy. Wow, you just made lemonade out of lemons. But if someone really like drops the ball, fails that chance as well, it is cringy.
A little bit, yeah.
And I feel bad because I know at like people see Magic so infrequently versus how much they see comedy. They're kind of at the Magic Castle seeing live Magic, many of them for the first time ever, and maybe the last time ever.
That's
they
true
are
too,
judging
yeah.
my art form based on what they see in 3 hours at the Magic Castle. So I get really protective, and I get my spidey sense goes up when I feel like, oh God,
So
they're laughing at him, not with him. You know,
Oh, that you don't like it.
Oh,
God,
no,
we
I
love it.
don't.
In the comedy world, it's like our favorite thing. But that's why you've made this kind of, this dual world where you love Magic so much. That is your first love. That's that's the thing, right? Like, people say to me, if I could quit comedy or acting, I'd quit acting tomorrow. I do comedy until I die. I do stand-up until I die. If you had to quit, if someone's like, dude, you got to be a stand-up or a magician. If that was the case, and they put a gun to your head and was like, you got to do it, what would you do?
me,
Yeah.
I would say, oh gosh, I might say a stand-up.
You would quit Magic.
Well, here's the thing.
You're a
like,
fantastic magician.
but are you saying that I can't be funny if I'm doing Magic? If I had to pick one of those two things?
I mean, it's obviously not a clear divide, but it would be more like, dude, you got to stick more to Magic and stop doing some of the
I get more
stand-up
gratification from making people laugh than I do from blowing their minds. I do love blowing their minds, and I do take it for granted because it is a profound thing. And, you know, like, I see it all the time on audiences' faces, and I kind of maybe desensitize a little bit to it because I know wow, people so rarely have their minds blown,
Yeah.
right? So that is special. But, man, just hearing, maybe it's because I've always, you know, I got into Magic because of Johnny Carson and because I love Steve Martin and Johnny Carson and just the way that these comedians carried themselves. I was like, I want to do that thing. Magic was how they got to there. Let me start with Magic.
Right.
So now it's kind of like I did Magic. I fell in love with Magic with the goal of being, you know, like a Johnny Carson kind of guy, that kind of entertainer.
Yeah.
And you know, I feel like kind of in that place now where I can kind of juggle the two. But
So you wanted to be a comedian through Magic, truly.
Yeah,
Because that
yeah.
is what Steve did. Steve, in his book, which I highly recommend, talked heavily about performing at Universal Studios, right? Isn't that where it was?
Disneyland.
Disney. Yeah, Disney.
Disneyland.
And the pains of that, I guess, is why it's so relative to stand-up that we go through when you're bombing in an open mic, performing at Disneyland as people are passing by, but you catch 1 out of 10, and they're like, oh, that's pretty good. And that feels just as good as one guy in a coffee shop laughing, but 9 other, you know, waiting to go on stage. But it's interesting you say that because I was a big Johnny Carson fan as a kid, and when I was a kid, I'd love to sneak into the living room and watch him, and the Magic part of it for me, it never registered. I never got it as a kid. I was like, he's like,
Well, he rarely came up.
I know, but he did, but he would do Magic sometimes.
He would occasionally do Magic, but I, of course, like, you know, who do you want to write a book report on in 4th grade? Johnny Carson. So then very quickly I learned, oh, he started as a magician. You know, Arsenio Hall started as a magician. Steve Martin, all these people.
Arsenio Hall started as a magician?
Uh-huh.
No.
Yeah.
Well, so then what was your kickoff into actually getting the balls to do it? Like, what was the shift of being like, well, I guess I'm going to actually try to be a magician?
Well, I think, I don't know if I calculated it that much, because eventually I broke both of my arms when I was a kid, riding my bike.
I can see that
with
the way you
rollerblades
sit.
on. They're
Yeah.
very strange.
Wait
My-
a minute. Hold on. Slow down.
Yeah.
Rollerblades?
Rollerblades, man.
No pads? No helmet?
You know, I don't know if pads would have helped me. I don't even, probably no pads, honestly.
So
Thinking
no
back,
pads, no
this is
helmet.
probably 92 or 3. Yeah, and on a bike. So riding a bike while wearing rollerblades.
Oh, dude, I love that. This is what I'm
being a
on. Don't
jackass.
go over that so fast. That's a great. Give me the world. Is it summer?
This is probably fall. This is in my neighborhood in Creve Coeur, off
Ooh,
Spady
Creve
Road.
Coeur.
Probably me and 3 girls, and these were my friends. But I was so nervous to
Just
talk
you
to
and
girls.
3 babes?
Just me and three babes. This
Whoa.
was probably in 6th grade or maybe the beginning of 7th.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And I'm the guy.
And you're the
on
guy, rollerblades and on a bike.
On the bike, yeah.
And the purpose of this was you were taking the bike to a friend's house and you needed both of these modes of transportation.
I don't even know if I think we're just tooting around
Having fun.
in the cul-de-sac,
And give it to me. How would you crack
And
your
I was at the
arms?
top of a hill and I was going down and I was kind of pedaling, so wheels on pedals, and then I kind of went to stabilize, and then I was going too fast, and then I went to hit a brake and I hit the front brake. So then I went flying and then I caught myself with my hands, which is
Both arms broken.
both arms
you get
broken.
up,
I'm on
arms
the ground,
dangling,
like,
and you
I
say,
didn't even get up.
Ta-da!
Ta-da!
How great is that, dude?
In here, we pour whiskey.
This episode of Whiskey Ginger is brought to you by BetterHelp. I have talked about BetterHelp for quite a long time. I'm a big fan of therapy, big fan of speaking to someone about your issues. And I do think there's so much value in talking to someone, especially because, hey, it's the holidays. And I know what happens. A lot of times we get a little seasonal depression, and that's a no fun for anybody. And it's tough, whether you're with family or without family. It is very hard because you're starting a new year and all the weight comes into play beyond the celebration. And I got to tell you, talking to someone I do think helps get you through really rough times. And I do believe that BetterHelp is a great way to do this from the comfort of your own home. That's my favorite part, is that I can do it from my house. I do really like that I don't have to go somewhere, because I'm not a huge fan of going to some weird office with uncomfortable lighting and a stack of old magazines from 16 years ago. So if you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely done online. It's designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Fill out a brief questionnaire and get matched with a licensed therapist, and switch therapists at any time with no additional charge. Come on, give it a whirl. In the season of giving, give yourself what you need with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/whiskey today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, BetterHelp.com/whiskey. Gifting is a no-brainer this holiday season thanks to the unmatched comfort and style of MeUndies. I got some MeUndies on right now. I got some for my little lady for the holidays. From undies and bralettes, socks and loungewear, MeUndies has got it all, okay? I've tried a lot of it. Haven't tried the bralettes yet. I might want to. Who knows? But it's an amazing gift to give to somebody and yourself, by the way. They got a holiday gift guide that makes it all super, super easy. Versatile loungewear. Some of my favorite stuff is the MeUndies loungewear, kicking it around the crib. So comfortable. They're breathable also. You're not going to get all sweaty and stinky. Responsibly sourced, which is great. Sustainably sourced materials, and work with partners that care for their workers. That's a big deal in a really weird, dark world. And if you're not happy with your first pair of MeUndies, it's on MeUndies. You don't like it? It's on them. It was on you, it's on them. Don't worry about it. I do think MeUndies makes such high quality, comfortable, wonderful stuff to kick it around the crib. You don't have to just use it around the house. You can go out with your MeUndies, all right? But I like them comfy time on the couch during the holidays, wrapped up in a blanket with a bowl of popcorn and a soda pop. Knock out your holiday shopping today and get 20% off your first order plus free shipping at MeUndies.com/whiskey. That's MeUndies.com/whiskey for 20% off plus free shipping. MeUndies, comfort from the outside in.
Ginger. I like gingers.
Both arms cracked
Yeah.
simultaneously. Now, none of these babes ever slept with you after that.
Or before.
Right.
No.
Were you a ladies guy? You're
No,
a
no.
handsome
I was
cat.
I
Were
was
you a
that
good-looking
safe
kid?
friend. I was a friend zone buddy. I was a friend zone kid to those 4 ladies.
And I
still am.
I don't mean.
unfortunately.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh.
I don't
Just
mean
a
this
sweet
in an
friend.
offensive way, obviously, because it's not. But did they think you might be gay? And they were like, "He's our good boy buddy."
Yeah, maybe.
Because
I
I'll
don't know
say
if
at
they
that
thought
age,
that through,
I didn't
but-
have a lot of. Well, they might not have thought he's gay, but they thought he's kind of close to us.
Yeah, I was late to develop. I was
Right.
late to have pubes. I was late to have armpit hair, which was always noticed in the locker room.
Big point of contention.
Wow,
for you.
Justin has no armpit hair. So I was kind of like this, and I got into magic after that accident because my doctor recommended card tricks to get my dexterity back from my broken arms.
Oh, wow.
So that's how I became a magician. So then I doubled down on the magic, having already been a fan of, Carson and everybody, and then. So it wasn't like deliberate because of it. It was almost like a practical thing. And then I got obsessed.
You were like, "How do I get laid less?"
How do I get laid less? sitting there. I've got casts on. I can't even touch myself.
No, it's just funny because it's like every comic has a story of why, it's similar to that where they get into it because they're like, well, I needed a release from, broken home, bullying, or feeling uncomfortable. And the only thing that most of us knew was I'm pretty weird. And if I'm weird and I talk about how weird things are, people laugh every time. I mean, that was kind of the thing I learned fast was I said weird shit about what was going on.
At what age?
I mean, when I was a kid, my humor was a huge part of coping with sadness. So, like, as my family, a bunch of, Irish slugs.
Section 8 housing on the north side of Chicago.
You know it too well, yeah. Well, that was when it was just me and my mother. But even as a kid going to family parties, when I was a kid, like, I remember like 6, 7, 8 years old, my mother's family never had a lot of money. They weren't like, we weren't homeless, but they were just working class. And so we joked about everything. And my grandfather was big on kind of teasing about the world because, the haves and the have-nots. It's easy just to be like, you think Rolls Royces are comfortable? You see how dumb they look sitting in those fucking things? He loved poking the bear at, the swells is what he used to call them. Oh, the fucking swells. And I think that like that.
Anything was popular, punch it. Punching up.
You got to punch it as hard as
making
you can.
fun of anything that people think is.
Well, if it was exclusive, especially if it was exclusive, and if it was fancy or nice, the reason we didn't
You know how
have
much it costs to fill up that yacht?
Yeah,
you know,
stupid.
that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's a waste.
You know what the mortgage is on that mansion?
You know how many maids need to clean that house? You got to deal with all those people. I think the way to deal with the stuff of the haves was for people in our family to mock them. We don't have that, not because we're poor or broke. We don't have that because that's stupid
We
to
choose
have.
not to.
Right, exactly. And I think that influenced my comedic take of the world. As I grew, I start to understand like, oh, it's because anything that's uncomfortable, it's funny. If it makes you go, oh, I feel stupid, well, it's got to be funny. There's something underneath that's funny because it's all your mind making you feel a type of way about the situation. So for me, it was that. It was, mocking the fact that I got made fun of for being a redheaded kid or, just growing up with just my mom and then the kind of a weird, tumultuous, not having a dad when I was a kid and having, and then having a stepfather years later and us leaving the city. And I think just not understanding where I belonged a little bit, especially looking as orange and bright as you are.
Very orange.
So orange. So it just made me have to, I had to have it. Yeah, you had to have it.
Being
You had to
funny
have
is
something.
your shield.
And so you, post-broken arm,
Yeah.
you got good.
Well, it was the first thing I was like better than average at. Like I was fine at sport. Whatever. Fine at sports.
What was your sport?
I mean, I was golf.
Do you golf still?
Occasionally.
Yeah,
But I was on
kids.
the golf team like in high school, so I was okay.
Ooh, the kid can play.
Wrestling in high school, but I was okay. I was not great at anything. Like grades, B minus,
Same. C's.
Music. I mean, I played the saxophone at the time. Meh.
Not just jack of all
Just
trades,
whatever.
master of
But
none.
there was no other, when I got into magic, there was no other magician in my school. So instantly I was like the only kid in the school who did this thing. And then when I would do this thing, when I came out of the closet as a magician, like maybe at show and tell in 7th grade or something, did that first trick, like people like can't believe it, It's like, those early David Blaine specials where it's just, him on the street doing a trick and then people just erupt and run in different directions, Like I would do that, in between classes and stuff in 7th grade, and people even just simple card tricks, and I'd be so nervous because I was never a performer. I was very shy. Never even would go out of my way to be that center of attention. But magic gave me kind of like the training wheels a little bit, and I couldn't believe how people would freak out. And so through magic, I discovered that I was funny.
Right.
Right.
But did you use the funny as a crutch, like I talked to you about, when a trick doesn't go kind of the way you want, you make a joke about it, or were you just interjecting comedy while you were doing
No, I think
magic?
I was trying to be funny because I loved my. Then once I started doing magic, Harry Anderson became my hero.
Harry Anderson.
Harry Anderson, who was the actor, the star of Night Court. Great TV show.
Yeah.
From 84 to 89.
A lot of our
or
audiences
something.
do not know what that
I
is
know,
or
look
who
it
that
up.
is.
Harry Anderson. So he was like a comedy magician prior to that show, and his whole persona is like he's working out of a suitcase, pack small, play big, funny.
Yeah.
Penn and Teller, just funny. So most magicians start by just lifting jokes left and right, either from the instructions on the trick you bought it from, or the magician you saw do that trick. You just start doing their material. So I would like Robert Orban joke books. I would go through those and like add those jokes into my bits. You know? Like I'm in 8th grade talking about like my wife, this or whatever. You know, it just made no sense. You're like a cover act. You know, and then.
And that's widely accepted in the magic community.
I wouldn't say it's why. I mean, no.
As a
I mean,
kid-
this
as
is I was a kid.
When
like,
but even when you're in your amateur period, are people still okay with it?
well, I mean, I would say once I like knew what I was doing, like I would say that I had killer jokes that people who knew those were hacky jokes, but for the most part, audiences don't know.
Can you give
know?
me one? Do you remember? Do you remember
Yeah.
one from your young ages?
You know, I mean, the original, the oldest one is like, you know, because I was a kids party magician, and be like, how you doing? Hi, hold out your hand. Okay, great. Oh no, the clean one. Oh no, that was the clean one. All right, stand right here on the trap door. You know, I do this trick in front of the mirror, and I laugh for hours. You know, like just like kind of.
Small, quick.
I would say here, we sign your name on this bill. Use this pen they were giving away at the bank, and I pull out a pen with a chain on it. You know,
Yes.
like that. I probably saw some other magician do, and it killed that. And I'm like, I just need a pen and a chain. I'm going to do that. You know, and I'm 15. I don't know better. But you get you learn like wow, laughs interspersed with magic is kind of a nice.
Oh, it's so rhythmic, man. When it's
Rhythmic
working, it's
punch, yeah.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
That's funny you say that. I remember that's on the Tonight Show. Why am I dumb? I'm so dumb. There is a famous comic that did the pen with the chain on it on the
Shandling
Tonight
did
Show.
it.
Was it Gary
I think
Shandling did
was
it?
Shandling it, which
Yeah,
I was later
they're giving
told.
away free pens.
Yeah,
I
they're
think
giving
that's what it
away
was.
free- yeah,
You guys
exactly.
ever been to a local bank? You know they give away free pens? That's what it was. But the chain was hilariously long.
Yeah.
I think it was longer than a normal. Like
Probably.
it wasn't like the one that's a foot at the bank. It was like a 3-foot chain or something. But I think there was multiple.
And it's funny is
people
that
that
I
did it.
didn't even know that it was a
it
Shandling
Gary
bit,
that
if
did
it
it?
is. But then, because I probably saw some local magician do it,
Sure.
I probably thought like, oh my god, that's hilarious. Nobody else has ever seen that. I'm going to do that too.
Right.
Little did I know that like it was lifted from one of
Right.
the greatest comedians. Magicians can get away with that for a while.
until you start sniffing pro.
Yeah, or you just won't even get to that pro part. But until you maybe start to get eyeballs, and then it's like, oh, is this guy worth? You know, like it's almost just a public opinion. Is this guy worth proceeding in their ascent, or is it kind of like, all right, we get it? You know.
Well, that's what I'm really curious about. The breaking point of a comic to become a pro comic, right? There's a lot of like, you know, a lot of inconsistency in who becomes a professional comedian, right? Because some would say the first time you get paid, you're a professional, right? But for us, a lot of it is validity through the business, whether it's you're given a shot on television, you're passed at a major club, you become some sort of a name in some regard.
Mm-hmm.
Is there kind of a, hey man, you're a pro magician? Like what's kind of the intro into that world? To say where somebody goes, oh, you know, Justin, yeah, no, he's a pro. You know what I mean? When you're young, how do people know? I mean,
I would say I thought I was a professional magician as soon as I had a business card.
oh, that's big.
Which was
yeah.
probably 14.
Yeah.
Business card
Vistaprint,
and a
baby.
briefcase. I mean, this is before Vistaprint. This would be me at Kinko's.
You doing it yourself?
And this is before there was any like software. I would literally I think I would type the words on Microsoft Word, print it out, and then like cut out the words and put them over an actual picture, and then make copies of that. You
Oh,
know,
that's
like
cool.
felt like Gutenberg up in there. You know, I would say, and I would do some kids' birthday parties here and there. And I thought like I'm a professional. Like I felt like an entrepreneur. You know, which was
Yeah.
a new feeling of worth for me. But I think. You can't be a professional until you are fully supporting, you know, like I was living under my parents' roof. Like I wasn't professional. I was making an extra couple $100 a month, but I
Sure.
certainly couldn't support myself. So I would say it was probably not until like in college, I set up my birthday party business again at Emerson in Boston.
What a school. Smart guy.
What a school.
B's and C's got you into Emerson?
Yeah. It was
Wow.
it was before it was
Before this is the good old days.
selective.
Yeah,
It
you're
was
not
more
you're not getting in
it
now,
was
dude.
this is back when it was kind of Tish's waiting list.
They were letting in regular white guys to Emerson back then?
yeah.
That's not happening
Oh, yeah.
anymore. You got
me and Dan Levy, you know.
Oh, is he an Emerson kid?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I didn't know that.
I'd say, I mean, I'd be remiss if we're talking about the path from magician to comedian. The Dan Levy, Levy, not Levy, by the way.
That's right.
everybody, Not Schitt's Creek.
That's right.
Dan Levy, stand-up comedian, father of 3. He and I were buddies at Emerson. He was a year younger than me. And I was like gigging around town as Just Incredible, you know, kind of doing my act, sexual innuendos, like basically my kid's birthday party act, but like the comedy club version of it was just a little more like edgy, you know?
Sure.
With a bunch of hacky jokes interspersed here and there that would kill.
You do the hand joke and you'd go, that one has jizz on it.
Exactly. You know,
Right.
exactly.
You just have to
exactly.
put a little bit of spin on it.
And you know, like, and I thought I was hot shit. And then Dan came along, and he was just a straight up comedian. He'd been doing it as long as I've been doing magic, and he would just like destroy with jokes about being a college freshman. And I was like, I can't, but like, I'm doing jokes that were written by a guy who's died of old age. Dan's over here writing new bits about something that happened last week. It blew my mind. So he changed my mentality about magic, which historically magicians can get away with doing the same act and polishing it and honing it over the course of a career, you know, and that's their act. Versus Dan, who would, you know, versus Dan, and also who he introduced me just to the idea that comedians, you know, once it's not funny to you anymore, you don't, you know, you may not even want to do it anymore. Or once it's out there, once it's a, you know, thing, like constantly ditching the old, kind of pruning and evolving. So that was like really inspiring to me. So I started doing magic in comedy venues, and that's what forced me to kind of ditch the hack stuff. And
When did you get rid of Just Incredible? What a name, by the way. Were you signed to
What a
Cash Money
name.
Records back then? Just
it was
Incredible
pretty
in the
good.
building.
In the house.
In the building.
That's when DJ Khaled was my neighbor, was my manager.
You ever had mayonnaise? That guy is the funniest dude
Just
on planet
Incredible
Earth, man.
does.
Just Incredible knows about mayonnaise.
God did.
You know about this watch? And he's got those big teeth. He is the funniest comedian that's not a comedian I've ever seen in my life.
God.
He rips. He kills me.
You seen that prop bit he does where he's playing Bob Marley's guitar?
Yeah, dude.
Oh my gosh, so good.
He is, and his face looks cartoonish in and of itself. So it's already like that's what we had a discussion. I can't remember what comic was on the show, and I said, if you really boil it down, comedy, anybody can. A lot of people can write funny jokes. A lot of people can write a funny, quippy joke. That's a thing that many people could do, but it's how funny does it sound coming out of your face, and that's kind of a big piece of it. Like you can write great shit, but if it doesn't look fun coming out of your face, people just don't attach themselves to it. And I feel the same way with magic, by the way. It's like I find myself liking magicians when I go see them more when I look like it fits who they are. It's almost like when I see a magician, sometimes I'm prejudiced now because I've seen a lot, you know, over the years and gone, this guy's vibe, it doesn't fit the show or his act or whatever. And then you see people that it fits their shit to a T. And it's almost like, I know that guy's better from an internal perspective just because it looks like it's supposed to be coming from you. It's almost like Chappelle is a genius, but if someone else told the jokes, I don't know if you'd like him as much. But coming out of his face, it's because it embodies his world so well.
Or Chris Rock, who doesn't even have to get to the punchline.
Right,
He's
I'm
just
already
saying
laughing.
the same phrase
Because of the way it's oozing from him. Not just your physical delivery, but the way that you are emitting the energy from it, as you know, dorky as it is, you can feel their physical emitting of something and immediately go, God, I know that's no one else does that like him or her or whatever, you know? But what you said about magic that was odd to me, that we share the same thing. Comics had acts. So we had that too. I mean, comics up until arguably, I would say the late 80s were doing acts. I mean, most guys and girls were doing an act. And the old phrase was, what's your act? Can I have you, you know? That's why when somebody says to me after we do
How
a
much
show,
time you got?
How much time
right?
you got? What's
Yeah.
your act, you know?
Right.
Or they say, good sketch, good skit. They don't know what to say. You're like, oh, it's a set. And they go, whatever, you know? Because I think the beginnings of time were similar with magic, that it's like, well, you got to have an act. I can't put you out there without having an act.
Absolutely.
It's like, well, it's changing with the time. It's like, no. We need to know what you're doing, which still exists a little bit today, but the newer generation has kind of pushed that away. And that must be the same with magic
Right,
now.
where it's not as much the act, it's about the person.
The presence, and then
Yeah,
you
just
change
me being
with
here.
time.
Doesn't matter what I do, you know?
You're that
Todd
good.
Barry, is he doing crowd work? Is he doing, who cares?
Right.
It's Todd Barry on stage.
Right, exactly.
He's in the moment.
But magic's
right?
the same way now, right?
Um,
Where a lot of you,
it's-
like,
it's tricky.
you have a
I would
vibe.
say there is a little bit more, I mean, you have to it takes a while to earn it, maybe longer to
Sure.
to coast on your presence than the trick, you know? Like, if there's a certain trick that people love, it's kind of like, no, we're booking you, but we're kind of booking you to do that trick, you know? Like,
Right.
like I'm sure with Gaffigan, it's like, you gonna do the Hot Pocket? If he was doing the Tonight Show, hey, you're gonna do that Hot Pockets bit, like,
He's
are
like,
you
I don't
gonna
really want to, and they're like,
oh, okay.
but you have
We
to.
were hoping
That's
you
why
would,
we paid you to be here.
or whatever, like, and you emerge from that. But yeah, I would say the trick, the act, like I do certain bits that I've done maybe 10 years right now in my show. Maybe like the oldest bit's 10 years old, but I haven't put it in a special or anything because I haven't had a real special. But
You
when
have a special on Netflix right now.
I've got a series.
Yeah, but that's a special.
It is special. It's six little specials.
You're being diminutive.
But I'm not
of
on
your own
stage
work?
doing magic. So I'm out in the world.
Right.
So I'm doing stuff that was
For
kind of written
humans.
and created for humans, but for that show.
Right.
Versus my act. No, I'm not burning my act for that. Right.
Right.
But
was that a part of that? You were like, I don't want to do any of my
I'll tell you
stage
why.
shit.
It's because like magic on stage, filmed and then watched, is harder to be as engrossed and amazed by as the people in the audience versus street magic or out in the real world in situ magic filmed and put in front of people. Because there's something about like comedy, I want to watch it and experience it like as the audience would, right? But with magic, it's kind of like I really need to be there. You can watch it at home and laugh and the people on the screen laugh. But with magic, it's kind of like, I wasn't there. How many takes was there? Like, I want to be there. So if I can clearly experience it through a person who I'm watching, like doing magic on the street to somebody who I feel they're real, they're not a part of this thing, it just hits harder. It's harder to get that on stage magic special. I'm finding it a harder nut to crack.
Well, no, I mean, because I've seen yours, and then I've never really. You're right. I've never seen like a magic special on TV.
Like if one of the best magic shows you saw at the Magic Castle was filmed and then put up on Netflix as a special, when you watched it back later, like if you weren't actually there, I'm sure you would feel a much bigger detachment than if you're just listening to the funny ideas that a comic is saying. Right?
But I feel like specials do that too for stand-up.
You're like, who are all these people? Are they in on this? What did they tell her to say that? Right?
But specials for stand-up do that too sometimes. That you're like, man, I always think stand-up or performance live is unbeatable. You can't beat live.
Can't beat it.
It's just even the best specials, I'm still like, I'd rather see this live. I'd much rather see this in person because I know that part of that experience is feeling the other people's emotions. That's part of the vibe of how good a joke is. You can pass around a good clip on the internet, but there's nothing better than live. That's why Leno never did a special. He said, I just want you to come see me live.
Wow, maybe I should start saying that.
Just come see me live.
You know why I haven't had a live special? Because you just got to come see me live.
See me live.
Robbie Pratt. You know why?
Yeah, you know why?
I'm not going to work with, no, people need to see me live.
Because they need to see me live, baby. But who's your
in order for them to see you live, they need to see you on stage.
Right.
Crap,
it's all one hand feeds
thing.
the other. But you're already
Paradox.
doing it, so you're humming along, man. No one's worried about you.
It's been a blast.
Yeah, you're good.
You know what's been interesting is going from honing my skills as a comedian in comedy clubs, where it's just adults, to now it's like a full circle. I started doing kids' birthday parties, right? And then
how old are
for
we
family
talking?
audiences.
10, 12?
When I was the kids?
Yeah.
5, 6, 7, 8, and then their parents. So it's almost like the gig is kind of there's the audience, but then there's the back of the room. The parents are the comics,
Right.
the fellow
It's like a
comics.
Disney movie.
And I'm obsessed with just making them laugh. Obviously, I gotta make them laugh and make them go crazy, the kids. But the people in the back, the parents, need to be like, I need every adult to know that this is not what I'm not just here to entertain the kids. I'm here to entertain
Right.
you. And then I would do comedy clubs where it was just us adults. And now where I'm doing these theater shows because of Magic for Humans, I'm getting lots of people bring like entire families. So it's like a lot of kids again.
It's all ages.
It's all ages.
Now, is that a hindrance for you? Do you feel like you like want to be dirty, but you're like, no, there's a lot of kids. in there.
I mean, I do. There are moments I censor myself. Like I maybe would occasionally cuss in a comedy club, but I don't feel any need to cuss on stage now. But I just sometimes feel a little, like I'm just thinking about the implications of what I'm doing.
Sure.
I'm not going to drink a beer on stage like I would in a comedy club. I don't want to drink a beer on stage when I know that there's kids watching thinking, I want
My
to drink
dad
a
does
beer.
that, then he yells at me.
Yeah, or
Right.
just that like, oh my God, I love his magic. I want to drink a beer like him. Like that's what I maybe would have thought as a 10-year-old if my parents brought me to a show.
Sure.
And I thought that cool magician drinks beer. Well, I'm going to drink beer. Like I remember how impressionable I was. Like I don't need to get into that. So I'm always thinking about it.
That's
But
right.
it's
I mean,
just
that's
interesting.
That's nice that you're conscious of it.
Well, it's also like I'm also conscious of how people who didn't even think that you could bring your kids to this show feel when they walk in and they're like, there are, it's 1,000-seat theater, but there are 80 kids under 10 here. That's not our date night in my mind, right? So I'm trying to like cater to multiple audiences.
That's very nice of you too.
interesting.
We don't
Yeah.
do that at all. When we do the Bad Friends Tour with me and Bobby, sometimes people will bring their like 14-year-olds.
Yeah.
And
You pretend like they don't
times-
exist, or you roast them.
No. I always say, why would you bring your child to this? I can't believe. I'm always like, dude, Bobby shows his butthole at some point in the show. Like,
then it makes the rest of the audience uncomfortable. So I'm always
Yeah.
looking out for, like, even if they're not your kids, if I do something risque, you're like, oh, Justin, there's kids here. Like it's in your head.
you're thinking about it.
I'm thinking about
At a
it.
club is way more free.
So I'm trying to make everyone feel comfortable.
Let me see this tattoo on the inside of your arm. I can't stop seeing it. Now, are you happy that you did this, or is this like one of those where you're like, maybe I didn't wish I did it?
Never regretted it.
Good. What is
Never
it, by the
been
way?
happy about it.
Can I see it?
It's a hand holding a jack.
Hand
of
holding a
spades.
jack of spades. Now, what's the?
the
meaning
my
of
name's
that?
Justin. It starts with the letter J.
I told you his name was Justin. You
So
didn't-
when I was thinking, what's my favorite card, which is a thing magicians do, I was like, well, Jack. I don't want to be the Jack of Hearts or the diamonds or the spades is cool because what the hell? It's just a cool design. So Jack of Spades, from a teenager, was just like my favorite card. So I thought at some
was it
point,
a fefeature of your act ever? Was
No.
it like no? But you
No.
just love Jack of Spades.
yeah, and I always knew I need to get a tattoo, something. What am I going to get? Jack. I want to get something magical, but I'm not going to get a magic tattoo. That sounds like a big mistake. Well, Jack of Spades, it's a card. This was all
Yeah.
just immature thinking.
How old were you when you got
I was 41.
Yeah, good.
I was 21, and I just moved to LA, finished my college second semester of senior year with Dan, and then stuck around and started making bad decisions, and that was one of them.
Are you guys still close, you and Dan?
Yeah.
One of my arch nemesis, by the way.
Is he?
Oh, we hate each other wholeheartedly.
Has he been on here?
No, I love him so much. No, he's a great dude. That guy doesn't hate anybody. I don't know if he hates anything.
No, he's the nicest guy.
He's like too nice. He's like a good-looking guy
and
that loves
he
shoes
accuses
and
me of being
family.
too nice. Like we're good, nice.
You're close in the nice way, but I
Yeah.
know something's a little bit darker inside of you.
It is.
Yeah, with Dan, it's not that dark. Something's darker
No,
inside
Dan
you.
doesn't have. Dan is he's the last guy to know that his best friend's got a problem of some sorts, because he just doesn't see it. He sees the best in people.
I just thought you liked Coke. I had
Yeah,
no
I
idea
thought
you were an
I just-
addict.
Yeah, I thought you just wanted me to pee in that cup for funsies. I didn't know you were trying to pass a test.
Where are you going with all that pee, Dan?
Yeah.
Don't worry about it, buddy. Daddy will be back.
In here, we pour whiskey.
This episode of Whiskey Ginger is brought to you by Rabbit Hole and their one-of-a-kind Kentucky bourbon and rye whiskeys. Behind Rabbit Hole's award-winning spirits is the story of their founder. I've talked about this cat, Kaveh Zamanian. What a sexy name, too. Kaveh Zamanian. Hey, it's me, Kaveh Zamanian. He left a successful 20-plus year career as a psychologist. He went down the rabbit hole himself, folks. He wanted to learn how to craft the world's finest spirits. That he did. He was just inducted into the Kentucky Bourbon Hall of Fame. Congratulations! And he was the fastest ever to do it, which I think is incredible. He's the Usain Bolt of getting inducted into the Kentucky Bourbon Hall of Fame. If you're looking for something unique this holiday season, when you're sipping on all sorts of stuff, you go to the liquor store and you're like, what should we get? I got to tell you, this Rabbit Hole is phenomenal. We've been drinking it on the show. I share it with guests that like to have a couple of sips of the sauce. This Boxer Grill is their rye. Now, they have 4 different distinct expressions. The Cave Hill is their triple malt bourbon. High Gold is that high rye double malt bourbon. This is their sour mash rye, the Boxer Grill. It is absolutely delicious. For a long time, I didn't know if I was a rye guy. But man, is it good. It's really good. And they got the Derringer. That's a PX Sherry finished cask. It's finished in those Pedro Jimenez casks. It's that caramel cherry sweetness that you really love in those casks that a lot of people are doing now, but Rabbit Hole's been done doing it. When they say small batch, they mean it. 15 barrels, under 15 barrels at a time. That's very rare. If you know anything about anything, you know that's extremely rare. It's a great gift this holiday season for yourself, for friends, and for family, for whoever you want to have a little toast to the holiday. This is one. Speaking of toasted, they put this good jazz in every single one of their releases is aged in both charred and toasted barrels. They're not faking the funk over there. Not mass production for no reason. They're making high quality sauce. They got 4 different expressions. Boxer Grill is my go-to this holiday. Go to rabbitholedistillery.com/buy now. Rabbitholedistillery.com/buy now. Use the promo code RABBIT for $5 off your first order. Please drink responsibly. Enjoy the holidays.
Ginger. I like gingers.
Now, what is your little dark deep inside you? What do you think it is? Did you have childhood trauma? You got to have something. I can always feel it on them. I can always smell it on somebody.
What's funny is like childhood trauma doesn't always lead to like magic, like people think.
Comedy does?
Comedy does, you know, like whereas comedy is a defense mechanism.
But did you have any heartbreak as a kid that really kind of because look, here's the deal. You're a good guy, nice guy, smart guy. I know there's something in there. I feel like a therapist right now. But we all have a thing.
We all have a thing,
Do you have anything?
Well, I mean, I've always had a bit of an issue with moderation
Sure.
of whatever the substance of the day is.
You want a new drink? You want me to pour you another one?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'm a little too moderated right now.
Okay.
Where's the moderator? No,
it's
you
him.
know, I could have another one, but yeah, moderation over the years and control of that has been something. But that's not the darkness; that's the symptom of the darkness, right?
Could be. It depends. I mean, I'm not here to break it down. I just want you to tell me you.
I will say it's there's a little bit of a, I think what draws you to magic is it's kind of like I know something people don't know, right? So you're kind of naturally, because of your art form, drawn to secrets and secret keeping and kind of like manipulating people's heads, you know, like so.
Do you think that's a part of sociopathy? Like, do you think you have some sociopathic tendencies?
I mean, I don't know if I had those. You would think that I would have had those ideas before, and I became a magician, or maybe being a magician draws them out of you. I think where you're just kind of you enjoy, like, magicians have to naturally be a little bit of a sociopath in that you need to lie in earnest. Like I need to tell you, I need to spin a yarn that's total BS, but if you smell it's BS, this trick won't land. So I really need to be good at lying and, being sincere and telling you something is true. And yeah, that is, I broke both of my arms while riding my bike with the rollerblades, right? Who knows? I need to make it sound like that really happened.
Right.
So
but it didn't.
It did.
I know.
It did. I'm pretty sure.
I know.
But sometimes you tell yourself a lot. Like sometimes I'll tell a story just to set up a bit, and it's total BS. But I convince myself that it, like here's a game I used to play with my dad when we were kids, and blah blah blah. Well, it might be a way I set up a trick, and I have. But that's all. I never played that game with my dad as a kid.
Do you ever believe it yourself sometimes?
But yes, I believe it myself because you get a little good, and you have to. It's such a method acting thing of. Not like you're not playing another person, but you're playing yourself if you're being totally honest.
Yeah.
And as a magician, I'm constantly have to, what is Justin when he's really just being sincere look and sound like? And I try to emulate that when I'm not. And I fool myself.
See, I like how honest this is, because this is a big part of comedy as well. Like most comedians, even if you're telling, your own depiction of something, all stories in comedy are going to have some semblance of pulling from air. It's impossible to have lived such a, I'm not Forrest Gump. You know what I mean? I can't have all of these amazing stories. So we do have to take from the reality, blend our own. A good friend of ours, was writing a bit and said, I don't want to make this about the person it's about because then they'll know it's about them. And I said, do you have a brother? And she said, no. And I said, well, then it's about your brother. And that's a thing that we do a lot in comedy, where it's like,
to make the bit work, you invented a brother that doesn't exist.
Yeah, because then it puts the onus on a thing that isn't real. So who's going to get mad about it if they found out it was about them? You know what I mean? And we do that stuff a lot. And I helped her do this bit because it was a great bit. And I was like, she's like, I'm embarrassed if they find out about it. And I said, well, they don't if it's not to them. It's kind of like one of the first bits I ever got landed on TV. I referenced my dad, but it wasn't about my stepfather. It was about my biological father. But a piece of the other story has a story from my stepdad in it. So I just blended the two worlds. And, both of them know, but nobody knows. But it doesn't matter because it's helping the bit's progression. Instead of me, I can't break it down. I go, well, that part's about my dad, but the other one's about my stepdad. But it is something my stepdad used to do. In fact, his best friend used to do that. That's why I got influenced. It's a waste of people's time. So we all have this story spinning element to us that does, yes, convince you sometimes. What piece of this is?
Well, I've had my dad in the audience when I'm telling the story about a game that we never actually played, and he believed it too.
He thought it happened.
Yeah, he would say, "Man, I remember playing that game with you." Like, I fooled him, so he'll now perpetuate the bullshit of like, yeah, let me tell you the story about this thing I used to do with Justin, because he was so proud that it inspired a bit that he can enjoy as an adult, and that it apparently left such a whimsical mark on my childhood. when I just made it up. So it's kind of like retroactively creating
it's great, though.
happy childhood.
Yeah, you're making your because what is the truth of a story anyway when it's monotonous like that? Your version is just as valid as somebody else's, right? It's your version, their version, and then the 10,000 feet reality that somebody else can put together. I don't really know. So if it's like, I remember going to that place when we were a kid, and your mom going, did we ever go there? I don't know. But if it makes you feel a type of way, then sure, fine. Who cares? Your memory is fleeting regardless. You're holding on to things that you actually care about, and then other stuff. It's hard to fit into that space. I mean, do you feel like as you're getting older, you'll go, God, what was that? What was that thing? And I forget, and I go, well, I guess it's just there's not a lot of room, unless it really meant something to me. But some people surprisingly remember all of it. But I think if you're able to put it in a way where it's a great story, a great bit, a great piece, I don't know. Isn't that a part of the art? I guess a little bit.
I think it is
A little bit,
right.
You know. Especially I'm an entertainer.
As long as it's it's like as long as the trick
Well, it's not
works.
like I was
if the trick
robbed at
doesn't work and
gunpoint,
it's
yeah.
like, wow, hey buddy, it's pretty obvious to everyone you're talking out of your ass here.
Yeah, you're
I
lying.
googled you. You don't have a brother. Like whatever it is, then you're screwed. But if it works, it works.
He died in the war.
And as long as it doesment, the fibs don't hurt somebody or
Well, that's right. Yeah, if it's innocuous, if
have
it's
to
nonsense,
do with world events that are
right. Right. Well, I mean, you were in the cold. You fought in.
I fought in
war?
Vietnam.
You were in Vietnam, right?
I was in the Cupcake War, Andrew.
You were in Little Cupcake Wars. Yeah, you were on Netflix right now.
Tours of duty.
Did you ever get to go to the Playboy Mansion when it was around?
I did.
You did. Did you
Yeah,
do magic
I think
there?
he was there.
Tell
Yeah,
me
I
you
did
performed. You
magic.
performed at the Playboy Mansion.
Yeah.
Give it
Yeah.
to me, baby.
Gosh, let me think back on this time. I used to do, I used to have magic on my pockets all the time. I would be busting out tricks left and right, know?
You never left home without having something prepared.
Something, because before you've made it, it's kind of like, well, who are you? What do you do? I'm a magician. Oh, okay, let's see. Here you
Show
go.
me.
Show
Yeah.
me,
Yeah.
Oh, say something funny.
I
Do
know.
something funny. Tell me a joke, right?
But that's hard for us to do. Magic, you're like, fine, I'll give you
What
some
do you do?
magic.
You just tell people you're a magician?
Yeah. I say
Wow.
I'm
I meet all these Uber drivers who are like, you ever met this asshole redhead magician? He just doesn't do a trick.
Yeah, I go, come see me live.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I love,
That's what
come
I
see
say.
me live.
Come
Yeah.
see me live.
But, went to the Playboy Mansion for something, and I think I was there to do magic. I would do walk-around magic. Strolling magic is a
Right.
whole genre of magic.
You
And
were
it's-
like an appetizer.
Yeah, I was like, like a cocktail party, icebreaker conversation starter,
Does this pay well to do this? Not, you know what
not
I mean?
that gig necessarily. That was more exposure,
Right.
full
Yeah, I get
exposure.
that. I get that.
But other gigs, yeah, I would do like bar and bat mitzvahs. I would do strolling magic at. So cocktail hour, I would
Magic.
basically, no table. I could I'm wearing a suit. My pockets are packed. I've got 30 minutes on me. So I go up to groups, break the ice, do about 10 minutes of tricks. Thank you guys so much. Enjoy the party. Go to find a dark corner, reset all my shit, and then go do it again and again.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, strolling magic.
How many hours do you have to be there for these things?
An hour or two.
That's okay.
Yeah, I think at this Playboy Mansion party, I walked up to Paris Hilton and Kim Kardashian, and this was probably like 2009. And I was like, "Hey, how you guys doing? I'm Just Incredible. I'm the magician here. Can I show you a trick?" And they're like, "No," and I waddled away.
Well, one day you're both gonna be bigger than ever.
Yeah.
And I'll be Justin, not just incredible.
Yeah,
Come
few
see me.
people have denied magic from me, and all of them are billionaires now.
Who else denied magic from you?
Elon Musk
What did he say?
said,
He's like, I'm
he
sorry,
didn't.
this does not compute.
I've not seen him, but yeah, strolling magic is the way to. I mean, as a magician, no better reason to hand out your business card than
You like what you saw? Come see me.
come see me live.
Come see me live.
Uh-huh.
I saw you live. Yeah, but I mean, different
yeah, but,
place.
like on a where chairs are pointed at, where you're sitting.
Right. But Playboy Mansion doing magic had been kind of sexy, kind of fun.
It's kind of surreal.
Also a little bit of a letdown because when you go there, you're like, this place is really nasty.
It's very it was weird.
It's
It
seedy
was
and
very
gross.
much like it was. I don't know what the event was, but it wasn't like a Playboy party. It was some party at the Playboy Mansion. So you realize at the time, like, oh, it's a venue. It's
Yeah.
like a place. It's a facade. It's a lifestyle that a company can rent out for the evening.
Totally.
And you could feel like you're at the Playboy.
I went once for one of those movie nights. I don't know what night it used to be. Maybe it was Tuesday or Monday. He would watch a movie with everybody, And boy, oh boy, was I uncomfortable.
Nothing weird about
it was
that.
so
What was the movie?
disgusting. I don't even remember. We didn't stay. We didn't watch the movie because
Schindler's
it was like
List?
people. It was
Like
that
some
or it was
real
American
heavy
History X. It was one of those.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and they just looped the curb stomping scene.
Wow.
That's
You're like,
the whole night.
wow. Yeah.
No, it just I don't remember. I genuinely don't remember. It was something like I want to say 16 Candles. It was something in that era. It was like Molly Ringwald era.
Okay. Well, that's fun.
Yeah, but I didn't stay because I was like, I don't want to watch a movie with this old guy and all these people that I'm. I
want to make a movie.
That's right, with all these people.
Come on. Where's the grotto?
It was disgusting, honestly. They took us for a tour, and this poor girl walked us around in like a very like shitty, tattered bikini. You know, it reminded me of one time I went to a house party. I think I was in Vegas, and some billionaire. We were out doing shows, and some dude had us over at his house, and there were a bunch of young, beautiful women, and he was like, "Who wants to get in the pool?" And I was like, "Oh, I'll get in the hot tub. Like, I don't really feel like getting in the pool. You know what I mean? Like, I'll get in the hot tub." And he was like, "You just wear your underwear." And I was like, "All right. I don't know." I was like, "I don't know. Do I want to do this at this party?" And he was like, "Ladies, come here." And he opened up a cabinet a door that should have been a pantry for food in his kitchen. And it was filled with swimsuits, filled top to brim with bikinis.
Any for Santino?
I wore the bottoms, not the top.
I see.
And I fell out both sides.
Oh,
I had
you did?
but one ball on one side, one ball on the other. It was a good bit, man. People really liked it. But to see two balls floating and then your penis tucked, it hurt. After a while, you had to stop, you know?
Wow.
But he had bikinis in there, and I thought, man, how gross and weird and sad. But some of them put them on and got in the pool, and that felt the same way I felt about the girl that gave us the tour at the Playboy Mansion. This was a bikini that looked like was in a room of bikinis. It wasn't hers. You know what I mean? It was like
She gets there in the morning, clocks in, takes off bikini she wore in.
right, because you
and
have
puts
to.
on
The bikini
yeah,
that
the
they
work
have.
bikini.
And she toured us around, and it was like miserably sad. Everything about it bummed me out. And I remember feeling not let down. I didn't care. I didn't think anything was going to happen there. I just was excited to see something like that. And immediately with my buddy, I was like, we should probably leave. Like, this is, you know what I mean? I was like, what are we going to, it was like rich, cool people there.
Well, you're probably like, do we want to get drunk here?
No.
No.
You definitely
I
don't.
kind of want to say I've been here and not
then
come
get
back.
out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
it was a say I did it thing.
And you did. And,
Yeah,
and
like
there
I
are
went to
some-
Burning Man
Oh, you
once,
did?
which is way better than the Playboy Mansion. It was
To
incredible.
perform or to live?
Oh, I went there. No, for like to attend for a week
Right.
with my girlfriend at the time and a couple buddies, and I took a bunch of magic, thinking I'm gonna be like the wizard of the playa. And I was so fucked up the whole time. I never did a trick for a week and a half.
not once.
No, never opened it up. It was because like to do a trick, like I'm sure it's like say a joke. You kind of have to switch from being a normal person in their day to be like, okay, oh shit, all right.
I have to do it.
Let me go on. Let me get on, right? And it's, it's not vacation mode. to
You
s-
did
switch
Burning
into
Man
that.
one time and that's it?
One time.
And you'll never go again.
I would. I mean, it's a whole to do.
Yeah.
Can't now kids, things, gigs.
I mean this sincerely. I have absolutely no interest in it whatsoever.
Even
that is,
for say you did it.
that is I love say you did it. I do
Uh-huh.
love saying you did it. But boy, oh boy, are you talking, he knows. That is an Andrew Santino nightmare. Huge groups of people where I'm just mixed in with these people without proper identification of
Vaccination proofs. and
Yes,
all,
well, that's
right?
what I need. How many boosters do you have? No, where's the pisser? Where do I sleep? Will it be comfortable?
Pissers everywhere.
Yeah, see, I need to know. I like to be set up. I like to be set
Well,
up.
you can be set up. You can do it proper. You can do it. You can take a tour bus there.
But then I feel,
Have it be just
I
you.
just don't want to ever feel vulnerable in a huge group. And that's what I feel like happens there, particularly when I'm on drugs. Me on drugs, I'm at my couch, at my house with people I like, or I'm in a very secure location with a small group of humans. Put me at the beach with a couple of good friends and a little bit of mushrooms.
Oh yeah.
Heaven on earth.
Right. A cabin in the woods.
Oh, my
with
God,
my
with
favorite people
5
who
people?
I don't care what they see me do. or
Don't care.
See me pass out, whatever.
But 17,000 people heavily on drugs wandering through the desert, that's a big pass for your old red boy.
Wow.
I can't do that. I respect that the spiritual connection people make out there.
Well, you're not seeing 17,000 of them at once. For the most part, your experience, you're like,
Yeah.
I'm around a couple hundred people.
But then don't you just roam through? Don't
Yeah,
you
you
roam for
roam.
hours now? What did you take? You feel free to
I took
discuss.
the 10 to the
Yeah, that's what I want to know.
25.
Yeah.
I took, I think, some mushrooms up there.
Yeah.
And then maybe,
Ever acid?
no, never acid.
Did you ever do acid?
Never have.
Did you ever get into drugs when you were a child?
I
teen?
I would take my dad's bottle of wild turkey that was on a cart like that in the
I love your
basement,
dad.
and I would occasionally sip it and replace water to make the difference.
Smart. Yeah.
Until I realized my dad is never touching this. This is horrible liquor, and it's probably 20 years old already.
Right.
He's not going to check this. So I drank that, and then I realized, so I would experiment with the booze around that I knew my dad would notice. Huffed a little bit here and there.
A huffer.
A huffer.
What are we talking? Computer? Like computer
Scotch
spray?
Guard.
Oh, wow. Buddy.
Yeah.
This
We're talking
is-
like age 14.
You were huffing at 14. Yeah. Computer duster was big back then.
You know, I don't remember.
Scotch
I don't
Guard.
think those had been invented yet.
Well,
Computer computers were so new. There was nothing to dust.
Sure,
at
but
that point.
any of those compressed air.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're getting.
Mhm.
That's fun.
Wow.
Whippets.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, whippets too. But whippets, I would get spins, get dizzy, and it was unpleasant.
Loved the spin.
But the huffing, it's like reminded me of like salvia. You ever do
yes.
salvia.
Love salvia.
That it's like I can't believe this is a thing. I just bought this at a store on the corner that also sells gasoline, and this is legal. And then you hear, oh, it's legal weed, and then you take a little hit of that salvia stuff, and you're on another planet
Yeah.
for like 2 minutes.
Right.
That's kind of what huffing was. Anyway, I have a family audience now.
Let me tell you something, dude. Families do drugs too.
They do.
Families definitely do drugs.
They do.
But in the desert, did you find at this Burning Man that you opened up a piece of your creativity out there as well? Did it help? Did it help you?
I would say I had my mind blown over and over again.
Yeah.
Your mind is blown at the expanse, the quantity of people, the art, the things like, you'll see like a double-decker London buses that are transformed into giant butterflies with like 300-foot wide wings and flapping, and it's like got 300 people on it. And it's going through the middle of the desert. Excuse me. Cough button. Going through the desert at 3 a.m. and you're like, how did this get here? Like you feel like you're on another planet.
Right.
I mean, I'm a magician. I like to blow people's minds. It's nice to have your mind blown, right? You're just kind of like, what is life? Like, this is crazy.
And did you get into the communal thing where you're trading food for other
Yeah, I
things?
thought I'm going to trade magic.
You were
going
gonna trade magic for food?
Yeah.
Did it
No,
work?
Just brought my own food. Didn't have to do any tricks for anybody.
But see, people do that though, right? They go,
Yeah,
I'll
everyone
make
comes
you a
with a
shirt
thing,
for
yeah.
a sandwich.
Yeah, a gift, their own personal currency.
Another big no for me.
Mhm.
Yeah, I just want to know where all that stuff's coming
Yeah,
from.
I mean, it was, and I remember at the time, like, it was the period of time where my ex-girlfriend and I like had the most, like, it was the most crazy, just like sexual energy. Like it was like the prime of the relationship was that week. So
Perfect.
So that was it was great.
And you left her there out at Burning Man.
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
No,
Rest
she's
in
doing
peace.
great.
She's killing it.
Uh-huh.
She's still fine.
Exactly. She is Kim Kardashian.
Oh my
now.
God!
That's what
She
happens when
denied you all
deny
those years.
magic.
That's so wild. How life comes around, dude. Well, I'm curious about maybe I'll try it. I don't know. I feel like
Huffing?
Huffing.
Burning Man.
Huffing. I'm done. Burning Man. I feel like maybe. Why not?
Burning Huff.
I don't know. A little burn
I
huff.
mean, listen. You, the opportunity might present itself, and then you're like, wow.
People have
I think
offered.
This is supposed to be the thing. But it's a very, the things that are can't believe I did that, can never do that again, are really special. Like I saw The Grateful Dead with Jerry Garcia,
That's rad.
like 2 months before he died. And I often think back, like, I mean, I was a poser. I think it was the first time I heard their music. But I remember thinking, like, I really love this.
Yeah.
I've been wearing their shirts for years, and now I'm finally seeing,
actually
I'm
like
hearing
the
their music. Yeah, I love
Have you
it.
seen that? Have you seen Dead and Company?
No, I really need to.
Yeah.
Have you?
No, I need to too. It's funny. It's one of those things. that-
17,000 people just roaming in the desert.
See, not roaming.
No,
That's
sitting in one
seated
place.
very high, sitting down.
Yeah.
That I like, and I know where the bathrooms are.
Mm.
Big thing for me
Mm-hmm.
because I've been too high at stuff when I was a child, meaning like a teen getting stoned or getting ripped on something, and being like, God, I don't know where the bathrooms are.
What are you doing in the bathroom?
You know what I'm doing in the bathroom.
I see what you mean. Yeah, I guess
Yes.
it's like, yeah, you need your private place.
I just need to feel like I need to feel a little bit safe, and when I'm letting loose, when I'm unhinged and I'm letting myself fly free,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to also be like, oh man, and I didn't know it was gonna be cold. You know what I mean? Like I just don't want to. I've been high at a place being like, yeah, are we gonna leave soon? I'm just
Have you been to
freezing.
Coachella?
Yeah, I went to like the third Coachella that ever happened.
With VIP bands.
That's right.
See?
And
right?
then I never went again. I
Because
was like, this
once
is a
you've done it
nightmare.
with the bands, you're kind of like, oh man,
I can't do it out.
yeah.
I can't do it out. Yeah.
I was able to find, a LaCroix whenever I wanted.
Yes, whenever I needed a Perrier. No, I
Yeah.
was never fancy. I just wanted safety. I feel like if I'm on drugs, I want to feel safe. I don't want to feel like, just let it go, man. It's like, no, man, because then I'm stuck somewhere and then my high gets killed. And I like to be a little organized and then let the brain run as fast as it can. Is there someone in the magic world you have beef with? Please tell me you got some drama with somebody out there. Call them out, dude. Call them out on this show if you're going to call them out, dude. Let it rip.
Magicians love beef.
They do, huh?
Yeah.
It's funny because, it runs in the world of comedy.
Is this a promo for your other show, Beef?
Yeah, for Beef I did on Netflix. Please watch them in 4
right.
episodes.
That's right. And there's a new spinoff coming soon, Magician Beef.
Magician Beef, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit more rare.
Ayo, that's right. Well, I don't know.
No, it's actually
pretty well done.
It's overdone.
I don't know.
To be
it's
honest,
over
with you.
easy.
Yeah.
I'll say this. I have beef with magicians. I don't. I find keeping grudges to be exhausting. Like,
Sure.
there's so much to remember already in life, and like keeping up with my own convictions and my point of view or opinion changing about things as I get older and evolve and learn. Like that, that's a lot of work. But to also remember the people that have
crossed
wronged
you,
me.
yeah.
It's like, what good is that going to do me? Like, I will sometimes be like, oh, there's so-and-so, let's go say hi. And Jill's like, you hate him. And I'm like, oh,
I
you're
do
right,
hate
I do
that
hate
guy.
that guy. Shit, that's right, I hate that guy. Let's still go say hi. Like,
See,
I
that's
love,
a nice place to be. You can just let it, but in your community,
it's such a
it's
small
rich, huh?
community. It's kind of like we're all the same little, like micro subculture, why beat each other up? I will say magicians, though, because it is such a small community, like, and we were talking about, lifting material here and there, and, oh, I did that first. Like, there's only so many tricks that are out there.
Sure.
But there are hundreds of years of magical literature and this and that, and there's so much independent creation, and there's also so much, like, plagiarism and this and that. Like, magicians can very easily get hung up on thinking that someone else doing a thing vaguely similar to what they did is the thing that's keeping them from making it. You know what I mean?
Yes. Comedy, same thing.
I'm sure, right?
Same exact thing.
It's like,
Yeah.
he took that joke from my YouTube special,
Or they'll just say like, oh, the only reason that they made it is because of this thing that they do. And then it's like, but I could have done that thing. I would do that thing. I just don't do that thing. And it's like, well.
And
then-
same for musicians too, like the sampling of this and that. It's like,
Yeah.
like Ed Sheeran. Normally I
Stole
can
almost
hear it.
all my music, by the way.
Yes, he has.
Yeah.
And your jokes.
Yeah.
It's a whole, he's got them on pedals. He's got everything.
And let me say
right
this. I've
there.
said this before, and this is very rude, and I don't have a lot of ground to stand on. But that guy makes me feel good as a redhead.
Oh, I never thought about that.
And I don't mean this to be mean, but I feel good. I feel good.
Yeah. You know what Ellen was to the LGBTQ community
Ed
in the
Sheeran.
90s and early 2000s? Ed Sheeran is
Ed's
the
for me.
ginger.
Ed's for us.
He's letting everyone know that it's safe to be
Safe to be a ginge.
to be you.
And I'm a little bit better looking.
I will say he.
Look at me.
Yes, I will
I'm a
agree.
little bit better looking.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
So somebody goes, oh, you're redhead. I don't really know if I like redheads. I go, look at me.
Yeah.
Not bad.
No.
For a redhead, not bad.
It's true. I mean, it's like, but it's like me saying I'm pretty funny for a magician.
You are.
I know,
That's a
but for a
fact.
magician,
No, but you
for
are.
a redhead,
Not
there,
bad.
there are subcultures that we're
Well,
talking
dude, we're
about.
thrown into the woods. I mean, people don't like us at all. They can't wait. I mean, people want to. People just.
Way to go from to pull up the most unattractive Ed Sheeran gifs. Oh, there you go. That's all right. That's a little Snowden creeping in. Great hair though. He's got great hair.
All right, tell me something.
But as far as beef goes, by the way, yeah, there's magicians I think that have beef with me.
With you, they don't
Mm-hmm.
like you, right?
Well, I mean, I've had with there are squabbles, and then there's hatchets
Any
that are-
physical fights?
that are bare. No,
That would be sexy.
that would be great. A magic duel, like
Yeah.
like the Anchorman alley brawl.
Yeah.
Like to
But
have
pulling out weapons, you're like, God, this guy is good.
yeah.
In the middle of a
Like
fight.
hey, you got a problem with me, Blaine? Let's do the bullet catch for real.
Now, do people like him? Do you like people in
Yeah.
your community? They like David Blaine. No
Yeah,
one has an
it's
issue
funny.
with him.
Blaine magicians hated David Blaine at first
Why? He was
because
so
they'd never
fucking
heard
popular.
of him.
He was so famous.
How is he so famous so quick?
Yeah.
And then most important is that he's doing the same tricks I do.
Mm.
He's doing tricks that that you can buy from a magic shop. Why is everyone freaking out?
Well,
he's biting a quarter and spitting it back. He's like, I do that stuff. Like, and I was one of those magicians who would be like, how's this guy so famous? Like, I do the same thing. But we didn't. We're so deluded. It's like, no, he was the first magician to do that trick, and people actually believed it. The first person to do that material and like get the reaction that it deserves, you know?
It's the reaction was it, man.
The reaction was it, man.
You go to a bad neighborhood, you get some good magic reaction.
Right. And he kind of looks like he's got power. Like the
He
dude,
does look a little...
He owned that whole thing. But magicians, man, real tough love relationships first. Magicians love to hate you.
Until it's undeniable.
Penn and Teller, magicians hated. Magicians would pick it. Magicians would say they are not magicians because they're revealing the secrets. They're you know,
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're revealing the secrets of someone else's trick.
Well, revealing the secrets of their own tricks, but also, I mean, Penn and Teller were very careful to often invent the methods that they would reveal and say that, you know, like, but the fact that they were exposing anything at all, magicians just, they're blind to the brilliance that they're doing and just focusing on one thing, you know?
Right.
But then Penn and Teller are around long enough and magicians are like, oh yeah, they're pretty.
No,
So David Blaine,
I think
people
they're
are like,
fantastic.
oh, wow, he's pretty great.
It's like, I must be dumb because I've seen those guys. I thought they were unbelievable. I was like, God, they're fucking good.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also, again, does it sound funny coming out of your face? Does it look good coming from you? From a visual standpoint.
It's kind of like Carrot Top, right?
Yeah.
He got so much shit for so many years until eventually, you know, he's
doing his own
he's
thing.
an institution. People are like, you know, he is kind of the best show in Vegas.
Couldn't
it's
be,
like, well,
could be a nicer, cooler dude.
Why weren't you nicer to him earlier? Like it takes us so long.
Because we're awful people.
We're such assholes.
We're
Like, we really
such
are.
assholes, dude.
Yeah.
Well, if you at home want to go see this asshole,
Wait, we started?
yeah, we just started.
Okay.
Please go see him on tour. Is your website? What is it?
Justin Willman.
It's just JustinWillman.com. That's
Mhm.
it. Nothing more.
Isn't yours Andrew Santino?
Yeah, but you know, some people couldn't find those. A lot of people, there's like,
you have to buy
It's like
typo
Andrew Santino
proof?
does comedy.com.
You
or
own
one of
that,
those.
huh?
Yeah, I do that.
I still own JustinCredible.
You do?
Mm-hmm.
You don't utilize it?
Well, it goes to JustinWillman.com.
No, dude, you should make it its own separate page.
And I had to buy JustinWilliams.com as well.
Who's that?
I don't know.
But why'd you have to buy that?
Because people
Think you're
my
Justin
last
Williams.
name is Williams.
Oh, wow. Well, ladies and gentlemen, go see Justin
Anyway,
Williams live.
Please. Oh, no, Credible with a K.
Just incredible, my friend.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, I
Like
know.
someone would? Yeah, I
Yeah.
should probably look into that.
Just incredible. With
I'm
a
on
K.
tour. There we go. I'm in a bunch of places.
Go see
coming
Justin
up.
Willman live. He's on tour everywhere. By the way, playing in Boston, which we just got back from, Wilbur Theater, one
Did
of my
you just do the
favorite
Wilbur?
places. No, we did the MGM Music Hall at Fenway, which
Oh,
was
that sounds pretty cool.
it was phenomenal. And they brought us around. It's attached to Fenway, and you walk through the stadium, and they treated us so well in Boston. I love them. But he's got a bunch of dates coming up all the way through the end of the year. Go to JustinWillman.com to go check him out. It's a pleasure seeing you. I really appreciate you. I think you're so talented. Is that one of your kids?
That is my son, Jack. Yeah.
He got his son on this. He's selling his kids on the
I
internet
love,
already.
I
Pimp
love
'em out,
milking a
dude.
kid for
Pimp 'em
a video.
out, my
Honestly, when
dude.
you look at what works,
Yeah.
kids.
Kids.
Gotta have.
Yeah. Well, I have one right there. He's 24. That's the problem. We end the show the same way with one word or one phrase. You can choose, but you look inside of that camera, you're single, and you do one word or one phrase to end this episode forever. This will be embedded in history.
This is your keep it crispy. All right, let me
Yeah.
think.
One word or one phrase to just kind of really define you in this episode. And that camera whenever you're ready.
Find me. Magician beef is rare.
In here, we pour whisk, 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 whisk.
You were that creature in the ginger beard.
Sturdy and ginger.
Like vampires, the ginger gene is a curse.
Gingers are beautiful.
You owe me $5 for the whiskey and $75 for the horse.
Gingers? Oh, hell no.
This whiskey is excellent.
Ginger. I like gingers.